name is Brian Bowerman. I'm the Director of Undergraduate Student Affairs for the School of Engineering here. I oversee an office that will be regularly working with you and your students as they progress in their academic career towards an eventual and ultimate goal of
How do I progress?
graduates. And it starts here today.
Right.
This meeting is specifically for
You
an
do that?
overview
Yeah.
of various majors, including civil and environmental engineering, electrical engineering, computer engineering, and I did acting in my undergrad. Is this all right? All right. Computer science and engineering. Those are the majors we'll be covering in this meeting today. I'd like to introduce our dean, Dean Egerstedt. He's going to be giving a brief overview of these programs as well as our school.
I want to first of all say welcome to UCI and congratulations on getting admitted. It's harder and harder every year. So the fact that you are here speaks extremely highly of your past academic achievements. On top of that, engineering is one of the most sought after majors on campus. So not only did you get into a university that's getting harder and harder and harder to get into, you got into one of the hardest to get into majors. So I say congratulations on being smart, because engineering is a smart degree. You you get to work on fun problems, you get a job when you're done, and you know what, the pay ain't all bad. So congratulations on that as well. So I wanted to say just a few words until we get to the real stars of the show, our students, about what's going on in the Sunny Valley School of Engineering. So I'm the dean, I run everything in the school, but I'm also a professor, and in fact I have a clicker over there named Caesar. Can you click? I'm a roboticist. I have large teams of robots in my lab. I have aerial, ground, and underwater. And the reason I'm bringing that up is when you are in the classroom at UCI, the professor that's teaching also has something going on in their lab. There are tons of really interesting research projects happening on campus. So make sure that not only are you here to take machine learning and thermodynamics, but you also talk to the professors to maybe get involved with what they got going. How many people here have not been to UCI's campus before? Yeah, that's right. It's nice, right? So I'm also relatively new. I spent 20 plus years at Georgia Tech in Atlanta, and I came as dean 4 years ago. And this is what I look like when I showed up 4 years ago. The reason I'm showing this picture is this is what it looked like 60 years ago. UCI is a young university. In the timescales of universities, we're teenagers, right? And that means we are hungry, we're energetic, we're a little bit scrappy, and there is a different vibe on this campus. I was at Georgia Tech, I was at Harvard, I was at Berkeley. These all have a slightly more, we're happy where we are kind of vibe. We're not happy where we are. We're still innovating. There's stuff happening all the time. In fact, UCI stands for University of California, Irvine. It also stands for something else. Under construction indefinitely. And I think that's a badge of honor. It means we're constantly building. There are new buildings, there are new programs, there are new centers, and it's fun to be part of that. So I just wanted to say that. In fact, I found a graph that's showing what's going on in the Sunny Valley School of Engineering. So on the x-axis, the horizontal axis is time, and then it's pointing up. Do you know what's on the y-axis, on the vertical axis? Okay. Whatever click. Anything you want. Rankings, we're climbing the rankings every year. Our faculty are growing, they're getting better. We're having more students, we're getting better students, our research is expanding. I think we're having more fun, so I don't know how to measure that, but I'm sure we are. But so there is a sense of optimism in our school. And in fact, if you click one more time, we're almost 5,000 students, close to 4,000 undergrads, 1,000 graduate students split between masters and PhD students. And when you're a student here, you're going to be in a major, you're going to belong to a department. We're going to hear from 2 departments here today. And this is, students belong to departments through their majors, departments deliver the classes, faculty all belong to a department. If this was Hogwarts, right, you would have Slytherin, you would have biomedical engineering. So that's how the departments work. The reason I'm pointing this out is we are spending a lot of time on what is happening outside of the classroom. We're really trying to make sure that the experience here at UCI doesn't end with the classroom. It's the stuff that happens outside that really creates a lot of meaning on campus. And in fact, here one more time, we have tons of student clubs, and I hope you talked to the students out there earlier today. And if you haven't, talk to them afterwards, because every research shows that if you are part of something outside of the classroom, a student club, an organization, whatever, you do better academically, and for sure you have more fun. So we really are investing heavily in our clubs, like the Rocket Club, but there are tons of other really interesting ones. We also spend quite a bit of time making sure that we are close to industry. We have a robust practical program. We spend a lot of time on entrepreneurship and innovation type activities. So if you don't want to go to industry, but you want to start your own industry, right? We also have robust programs for that. I have gotten very excited lately about connections between engineering and the arts. So we're doing quite a bit between engineering and other parts of campus. This is one of my favorite events. It's a new instrument competition where engineering teams design brand new instruments that have never been seen before. And then there's a big music festival in May every year. This year's one is coming up. But this is also an example of what happens on this campus that's a little different. That engineers, sure, they're also artists, and I love that. And then my personal favorite, kicking it with a dean. I'm a soccer player. I've played soccer my whole life. There is a student, faculty, staff, alumni soccer game every year. Some students have started calling it kicking the dean, which is a very different event. So don't do that. What I'm saying is we're really investing heavily in the outside activities. You're supposed to work hard here, but also make sure that you have fun. So the last thing along those lines I want to say is we are really proud of our research. We are a top-ranked research university, and undergraduate research is part of what we would like the experience to be. So that is also something that any student, I can almost say that guarantee, that wants to do undergraduate research is able to do undergraduate research. So with that, I want to end with this slide. This is a former mechanical engineering student who graduated this summer, and he now is what's called a Star Wars engineer for Lucasfilms. His job is to try to build these robots in real life that were animated before. And he likes to say that he didn't get the job because of his engineering degree. He got his job because of his engineering plus degree. Because we are not talking about engineering plus, where engineering is everything that happens in the classroom, and the plus sign is what happens outside of the classroom. So here you get a degree in engineering plus. So speaking of degrees, last slide. This is major, we major. I'm going to hear from electrical engineering, computer science, and civil and environmental engineering. Is that correct? And they're going to tell you what the differences are between the majors, and there are some differences. Where I'm standing, though, engineers are problem solvers, and it doesn't matter which major you are. And I've lately discovered what makes engineering different from any other major. And that is, you're getting a degree in optimism when you're an engineer. And I will tell you why. Any other scientific discipline studies the world as it is. This is how electrons behave, or this is this or that. Engineers imagine what the world could look like. But if we stop there, we will be poets or dreamers, right? But then we use design tools, we use math, we use physics to try to make it so. And that is an ultimate act of optimism. So you're going to hear about major, be major, but really what it is you're all getting degrees in optimism. So I hope you graduate. So again, welcome to UCI and congratulations. Thank you.
Welcome everyone. Hello. Just to introduce ourselves really quick. My name's Abby. I'm a senior chemical engineering student, and I'm also a peer academic advisor. And
Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Ashley. I'm also a peer academic advisor, and I'm a fourth year civil engineering major.
Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm a third year civil engineering student, and I'm also one of the peer academic advisors.
So, welcome to Major versus Major. We're going to have these majors talk about their major and their introductions, what they do around school.
I guess hello everyone. My name is Silberto Alvarez. I'm a fourth year computer engineering major right here at UCI, and congratulations for me. I'm sick for you guys. Basically, a computer engineer is that little point between the hardware and software. You want to know a little bit about the coding, a little bit about the hardware technology that's going on underneath. That's pretty much what I wanted to learn, and it's pretty much what I said. I wanted to know what first take the code of the computer, and I'm kind of still figuring that out. But you know, it comes with the experience. If you guys are interested, things that I do right here, I'm part of ACE, the Battle Bus Club here at UCI. You know, he was talking about doing things outside of the classroom. That's pretty much what I do. And I also do research in basically robotics and microcontrollers. The reason I wanted to pursue this major, or my goals, I guess, was I just wanted to, you know, get a master's in a cushy job or to become a father of computing. I'm not really sure. I'm kind of ambitious sometimes. You find out as you go. Yeah.
So my name is Natalie. I'm a fourth year CSE major. Something from my personal experience, I came as a computer engineer major, and then I ended up switching. Something I learned kind of with Go is kind of like each the difference between computer engineering major, the electrical and CSE. They all do deal with hardware and software. We do end up learning the same thing, but like gaps. So I did kind of have the issues there. This is something that helped me, and like being freshman, like during my freshman year and the other freshman at me. Something about me, I have a two-way job, which is called your insurance job, and then something in the fourth year, my next thing is kind of like pursuing your masters. But yeah, that's it for me.
Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for coming. My name is James Dwyer. For any out-of-state students have questions later, I'm actually originally from Broome Village, Colorado, which is right outside of Denver. But I'm a fourth year electrical engineering major specializing in telecommunications. We actually have 5 specializations, which I think are listed. They are electronic circuit design, semiconductors, digital signal processing, communications, which is what I'm in, and RF and antennas. As an electrical engineer, kind of what they said, I came in actually undeclared, but I wanted to learn a lot about some hardware and how different devices communicate with each other. So that is kind of why I went to electrical. Like I said, it's mainly hardware with a little bit of software in there. But there's a lot of great experience within the major. We get to do a lot of hands-on lab experience, like building breadboard circuits, working with oscilloscopes, as well as working with different software like LT-Spice, MATLAB, and other softwares like that. I specifically chose this major because I think there's a wide range of career opportunities, especially nowadays with technology being more and more on the rise. I realized that like electrical engineers are kind of needed for every single industry. And yeah, a little bit of my experience too. I also was a part of open project space my third year, which I didn't have a lot of hands-on experience. You don't need to have a lot of hands-on experience going in, which is great about UCI. And I was in that program, which helps is a student-led extracurricular course with 7 different projects, ending in a capstone. That's what about me. See?
Hi everybody, my name is Tamira, and I am a third year electrical engineering major at UCI, and so my specialization is electronic circuit design. And so as to why I chose this major, I was really delving into either the hardware or software, but since I did a lot of robotics in high school, I don't know if it's I feel like a lot of you done that in high school, but I was part of the first robotics competition. And I've worked a lot with the electronics hardware, so that's something that I really wanted to pursue here at college, and delve more into and learn more about. And so, yeah, I really valued more of the hardware over the software aspect, but I did appreciate doing a couple coding classes here and there just to broaden my experience. And so, yeah, and so just some things that I do here on campus. So I'm part of aviator formula racing. I really value the hands-on experience that I learned outside of class where I can apply what I learned. But previously, I worked on the software stuff as a vehicle dynamics engineer, and also the wiring harness is electronics lead, and currently I'm a project manager as well. And so other things, I'm a part of IEEE, which stands for the Institute of Electronics, Electrical and Electronic Engineers. And so similar like James, I did open project space my freshman year, so it was a very introductory course to embedded electronics projects, which I really appreciated. And also currently right now I'm a microbus instructor, so a more intermediate level club where we teach students how to use higher level microcontrollers to solve an autonomous maze. And so yeah, some future goals I really want to work in the power electronics industry.
Everybody, my name is Janelle Gonzalez. I'm actually an alumni, so I graduated back in 2020 with a degree in civil engineering. With civil engineering, we offer different specializations here. So we have transportation, structures, water, and you can even do general if you're not sure what you want to do. I specialize in transportation. So the experience I have up here is from my work. I chose civil engineering because I wanted to promote the safety, health, and welfare of the public. And with civil engineering, you're creating the infrastructure to do that. So I wanted to connect communities, and that's why I picked transportation as my specialization and being able to point out a project that I'm working on. So I'm currently working on widening the Santa Barbara 101 freeway. And while you're driving on that, I can point out to different designs that I've done. So it's pretty cool. For my civil engineering experience, like I said, I'm a design engineer at Mark Thomas. One of the reasons that I picked UC Irvine is because in Orange County, there's so many different civil engineering firms that you can be a part of. So I was able to intern while here at UCI, and all the leadership experiences I had helped me land those internships. So I've been there since my internship, and my future goals are to get eventually licensed as a professional engineer and to see my project through design and construction. So we're currently in the construction phase, and hopefully you'll see it when it's done. Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm a third year environmental engineering major right now, and I would say environmental engineering, it's under the same department as civil engineering, and I would say it's basically a water specialization of civil engineering, so you don't have to take the transportation and structural classes, and then we also take some more like atmospheric classes as well. Why I chose this major is I love the environment and I knew I wanted to do engineering, so I just combined the two and chose the major. Some experiences I've had, I'm part of the civil engineering club. There's a lot of projects that you can work on in that club, and it's definitely been a good experience for me to get my internships and get hands-on experience as well. I'm part of a project where we build a small-scale water filtration system. And those are given contaminants that change every year. And we placed third earlier this month actually. And I'm also, I had an internship last summer, and I'm also part of a student government sustainability funding board, engineering master network, and I'm doing a fieldwork internship here at CI as well. And I'm also part of a research lab where we extract microplastics from biosolids and wastewater. So those are some of my current experiences. Future goals, I'm considering academia or industry. Thank you for those intros from our amazing panelists. We're going to go through a few questions, and then we're going to have time for a Q&A. But our first question is, were there any aspects of your major that you didn't expect?
Okay, so back again, I'm an electrical engineering major. I honestly didn't expect this. Something I was very pleasantly surprised about is just how much hands-on experience that we had access to. Kind of like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot. You work with both hardware and software stuff like within the classes for the labs, and I think it's really cool because I think I was able to apply stuff that I learned in lecture and then actually apply that, which I think is a big thing. Kind of preparing me for industry as well. So that was the big thing I didn't expect. I joke with people that electrical engineering is also just known as applied math engineering. There's a lot of mathematics that we do, which I personally love math. I always was good at math growing up, so that was another reason why I chose to do electrical engineering. But I think do you have any other for electrical? Or?
I guess for electrical, there's a lot of physics courses that you have to take, and you also delve into like quantum physics as well, which I thought was pretty interesting, but I didn't expect that either.
And with civil engineering, when I thought about it, I just thought it was buildings. I didn't understand that there was water and transportation and traffic, and there's so many different things that you could do. So the cool thing at UCI is since you have different specializations, if you come in thinking, for example, I thought I wanted to do structures, and then when I took the structures class, I was like, oh no, I want to do transportation. So it was nice to have that option to explore different things because some universities only have structures. So if I had gone to a university that only offered structural engineering and I didn't like it, I kind of would have been stuck. So it's nice to be at UCI in a major where you can explore the different facets of the industry. All right, our next question is, what advice would you give to someone considering your major?
I guess the easiest thing is choose something you're passionate about. Don't always look at the money involved with it. You're gonna drain yourself from it. It's always best to choose something that you're passionate about, actually want to get involved in, that you want to do research in, that you just genuinely care about, because that's gonna give you more enjoyment over these 4 years, 5 years, and potentially going further if you go into your master's or into academia. Just something you should really important to think about before, well, most of you guys might have already committed to it, but something to extremely consider.
I would say for environmental engineering, if you're uncertain, like that you're interested in water systems, which is the main focus of the major, then I would maybe recommend taking civil engineering since it's more general. But if you're interested in water, then you don't have to take transpo instructional, which I really like.
This is more for general parts, but kind of keeping an open mind. Some things you like, some things you don't. So sometimes it's just a big learning curve. There's definitely been classes where I was interested, but it just get way wet than you anticipated. Then keeping an open mind and going back to it. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, now we're at the Q&A portion. So we have a mic up here, so we can pass the mic and you guys can ask your questions.
So there was a water emphasis, and I was you said a bit about environment. Could you dive in a little deeper into what that means?
Like the other parts of the organization.
Is there like a chemical sort of
Yeah.
thing to it? Is there like a biological, ecological aspect? So yes,
Yeah, it depends on what experience you want from it, but I definitely a lot of my other extracurriculars I've like reached out into more the earth system science side of the school of the like UCI, so like outside of engineering, but it depends on what your interests are. Coursework wise, I would say there's more chemistry and environmental processes classes that you take. But yeah, since I'm interested in research, I've looked into other areas of UCI where you can get that experience.
You recommend going out and looking for these opportunities, like the plus thing that
Yeah.
Whereas when you're going to the coursework, you can deal with those waters.
Correct, yeah, but I definitely had a lot of like experience with engineering science.
Yeah, quick one. What's the ratio of lab hours versus in classroom kind of?
Jiminy, are you asking specific major or just in general?
No, probably electrical engineering, yeah.
Check. I would say, I don't know, unfortunately I don't have like a specific answer for you. I will say there are honestly more lab hours than I thought I was gonna get going into the university. And it is very good. And it's really cool too that like the lab hours go directly like with what you're learning across like 1-to-1 ratio. Like you'll be learning about like the specific like first control system that you learn about, and you literally get to apply that in the control system class. But yeah, I think definitely like more lab hours than I thought. And unfortunately I don't have the exact ratio figure. I don't know if there's able to find that though.
Yeah, so every quarter, you're probably gonna take the class and the attached lab that you have to take. So that's about 1 to 3 hours every week. So you're gonna do a combination of hands-on stuff, and some online simulation stuff as well.
Thank you.
A lot of you mentioned that you want to pursue master's degree, PhD degree. I'm just curious, are you going to be staying at UCI? Because some of the universities do not want their undergraduates to pursue master's degrees in the same school. And I guess I have a second question. What if you find the engineering major is not what you want? How easy is it to transfer to another engineering
So
Yeah, with my fourth year, I was kind of integrating like earlier on, masters, and then go for a job. Like the different kinds of masters programs, all figure out like different skills. UCI is School of Engineering has a professional masters and a research-based masters. UCI also promotes their own masters program. For more information, I feel like you could just kind of send me an email or like detailed responses, but to kind of like this student does promote like master's program. And for students to come back and if it's a professor, you want to do research with, like that's also promoted. Yeah, and at least for the master's program, there is an accelerated part, so you could graduate, get your undergrad and then get your master's in 1 year if you stay.
A little related, yeah. You can apply for a program to start taking master classes while you're in undergrad still. And yeah, like she said, they definitely promote you coming back. And they like how you come back.
Yeah. Okay. A little bit first on masters. Yeah, I would say UCI in general does promote our students to pursue continuing education. I can definitely speak to that for my department, chemical engineering. I've had professors be like, "Be a PhD student in my lab," and I'm like, "No, not for me." But in regards to masters, a lot of larger engineering firms will also pay for your masters. For me, my full-time offer, I'm gonna be pursuing a master's and my company has a tuition reimbursement program that is available also, which is common for larger firms in the engineering field. In regard to changing your major, that process is you are admitted to UCI as whatever major you are. Once you are a student here, there are different classes you have to take and then apply to change your major before the beginning of your third year, basically. Those classes are honestly very similar across all majors because everyone has to take the same level of math, physics, and maybe a chem course. So, yeah, you'll already be following those requirements to possibly change your major.
Okay, so we have a big change with our change of major requirement. My name is Maggie Anderson. I'm one of the academic counselors. So effective fall 2025. We are very, very sorry. Okay, so we're a very, very popular university. As much as we want to accept everybody, clearly we can't. So effective fall 2025, we have changed our change of major requirements. Some majors under the School of Engineering, it is not a guarantee anymore if you meet the minimum requirements for change of major. Specifically, this is going to be mechanical and aerospace engineering. That department is very, very impacted. So if you did not get accepted into mechanical or aerospace engineering, it's not going to be a guarantee if you decide to come to UCI. So I just want to make that clear to everyone. I know that may be a deciding factor. It's not impossible, it's just the requirements are now higher to get into mechanical or aerospace. So we're just becoming more and more popular. Other UCs such as Berkeley, LA, and San Diego, we call it the domino effect. So these are policies they've had in effect for several years now. So now we're being affected by it. So that's why we can't accept every change of major application if they meet the minimum. So that's something I do want to express since it is coming into effect fall 2025.
Question on that, if you don't mind.
Yes.
So is that gonna be the case for 2026 where they're gonna add another 2 majors? Or
It's gonna be effective 2025, that's it.
But that's just for the 2 majors that you mentioned.
Right.
So we follow up for so the kids will start this year. And they might think that, I can choose between 5 different majors, and they wake up in 1 or 2 years that, now the rules have changed. Is that what we foresee?
What I foresee is that it's even gonna get stricter. So right now, and this is what we have seen at the other UC campuses, is pretty much they will start with the most popular major, where they limit the number of students they accept for junior major. And then as we get more and more popular, the other majors get more restricted. So right now, what we have for most of our engineering majors, if they meet the minimum requirements, they are accepted. Except for fall 2025, mechanical and aero, it's a true application process. So even if you meet the minimum, it's not a guarantee.
But is that for first year or is that for like third, second?
So it's the first, so students will have 2 opportunities to apply to change their major at the end of their first year and the end of their second year. We do have this all outlined on the change of major website for the university.
What if they're an undecided engineer? It may still be funneled into any of those that are impacted.
They will have us, we're still deciding on that, but they will get more information about students who get accepted as undeclared engineer. Usually in the past, they will be able to choose whichever engineering major they want.
But if they're making a decision to come to this school, like how do they?
Oh, they'll get an engineering, like they can choose any engineering major. It's just they're held to different requirements where they have to at least pass. So we, in the past, like if they know what they want to major right off the bat, we'll let them declare that major.
Which ones are the other majors? You mentioned aerospace and mechanical. Can you help? Which ones are in terms of popularity, the ones that will be impacted next?
Most likely, with our data,
Yes.
that would probably be next.
Which one?
Electrical, computer science.
I also want to mention this too, it's the UCI policy that students are given 15 quarters or 5 years to complete their degree. And so for a lot of students that are making these decisions, like I get it, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was 18. Students change their minds, and that's a part of the process. So with us, we kind of built it in that we're allowing students to have the first year and second year as an option to change their major. If a student is in their junior year and they're still trying to decide, they've just spent 3 years of their college experience not making progress towards necessarily graduate. And I've got a lot of parents in this room. I'm worried that I didn't start saving soon enough for my children's tuition. It's really our best interest to keep your student well-being and frankly pocketbook in mind. We don't want students kind of meandering around who's undecided about what they want to do. And a lot of these change major requirements are directly built into the requirements of the program. And so it's kind of a structured runway system where we help students kind of build up towards actually graduating. We're not making them jump through unnecessary hoops. If they want to be a mechanical engineer and they're working towards these requirements, they are working towards requirements that are necessary for them. So I hope that helps maybe assuage some anxiety about that. I get it. 18, 19 was very early on in the science process. I also want to say, so I've worked with engineering students for over a decade. I worked at different institutions as well. I started here at UCI in the government. I worked in small schools, I worked with big schools, I worked with bigger schools. The UCI experience, believe me or not, I'm obviously biased, I just started here, but the UCI experience academically is the best one I've ever seen for any students. So I just want to say that it is your students' best interest that is at the core of what we do. Other questions related to that? Can I hand it back to the students for that kind of stuff? I see 1 and 2 back there.
So you mentioned, to try to give students direction. Now, just a very simple question. Are most students, engineering students, able to graduate?
Yeah.
So it's just my job, and there was a long history. I'll answer, I want to kick back to students, because I think everybody's more interested in hearing from students. The answer is yes. Like our degrees, historically, were kind of, some students have a chance to graduate sooner. Now, I will say, we are growing massive. And so the availability of some classes to do an expedited path to degree is not necessarily there. I'll say your students are making good academic progress, they're not failing, not withdrawing from classes, or needing to repeat. Graduating in 4 years is absolutely a possibility. Now, do some students want to take an extra quarter or 2 semesters? That's happens as well, because there's opportunities for research, for studying, or internships, or whatever. But yes, a 4-year plan is something that we make available to every student. So long as they follow that plan, they're gonna be on track. I say that as we're academic advisors. So that's we see everything, right? And so I just want to say that as long as you follow that plan, you check your counselor, be on track. 4 years is absolutely a possibility. How many of y'all on a 4-year plan? Okay. And you're doing
one extra point.
you're doing one extra for
I graduated COVID though, so.
and stuff. Well, other questions. I want to kind of think of action fields. So if there's the, go here and then.
I was sort of wondering, you guys talked a lot about the, like, for the civil engineering, you guys talked a lot about the parts we get were not structural. How did the structural aspect of civil engineering compare to what
Yeah, so for structural, it probably depends on what you're interested in, so I thought I wanted to do structures, and for me, when I looked at it, I wanted something that was more dynamic in terms of connecting people with infrastructure, so in transportation, for example. Let's say you are interested in connecting communities, but you still want to do structures, you can do horizontal structures, which would be bridges. If you're thinking of structural, it's usually vertical, so you're thinking of buildings, retaining walls, things like that. So there's different kinds of things, and something unique here at UCI is we do a lot of earthquake engineering research. So there's different things that you do with structural engineering, if you want to go research out to see how to make buildings more resilient, especially in the state of California. So depending on what you're interested in, you can do structures that are vertical, so that's more of the structural engineering. If you want to do structures in a different capacity, you can use it for transportation, for example, and design bridges, off ramps, things like that. So depending on what you're interested in, there's definitely a path for you for structural. But those are the differences, and usually the differences between the specializations will come in your upper years. So your third and fourth year is when you take more specific focused classes on the specialization. And even if you take your classes and you end up liking everything, you can do a general specialization and kind of go with classes in transportation and all your structures and some water. So it's really up to you. Hopefully that answers it.
But to add a little bit, yeah, don't worry about like specializations and stuff. And the student clubs are a really good opportunity to see what specialization you want to work in. I know ACE, the Civil Engineering Club, has a lot of opportunities to learn more about what it is.
We're gonna take one more question. Just a reminder that our students will be outside, and we also are boothing all day at the Henry Samueli School of Engineering canopy. Also, as a quick reminder, specializations, you don't have to specialize. It's basically like an extra 4 classes. Those classes and those technical lessons are there for you to explore a field of science that interests you the most, or whatever career pathway you want after you graduate.
Okay, I saw you. Go.
Well, I want to ask, I know when you said you were undeclared, before training, what was that path like of how to get undeclared and apply to the major and how
I'm so glad you asked the connection with the topic that I know somebody asked about undeclared, and that's I'm very grateful I'm in a position, and the university actually works still here. Caesar actually was my advisor and helped me a lot in the process. So when I came in during COVID, but when I think you guys have the person, but I had an online meeting with him. We kind of talked about, so when I came in, I was between actually mechanical and electrical, and I was like, I kind of want to get my toes into both. So he made me into one mechanical class and an electrical class. And so I took both at the same time, which was really cool. I kind of got to see the differences of both. These are like lower division classes, and then I took it was an intro to digital logic systems, my winter quarter of my first year, and I kind of realized like, oh, I really like this. This is kind of where I want to go. I don't know specifically at the time I knew I got to declare by the end of my first year, and at that point I was like, well, I really like electrical, and so I kind of just like shifted my path towards electrical. And it was a pretty easy process to declare. I worked with the advisor and stuff. So yeah, and I've heard very good experiences for like specific. Obviously that's my experience with electrical, but it's obviously similar experience to other ones. I don't know, obviously with updating the rules for those, but yeah, that was my experience.
Awesome. Awesome. We want to thank you again for coming to Major versus Major.